Hello, great people. My name is Dr. Roy, and welcome to another exciting episode on Hot Mic, where we discuss topical issues and human angle stories. And of course, we share possible recommendations in addressing these issues. And joining me in the studio today to discuss the recent state of emergency in Rivers State is Mr. Vandross Ebere Mbaegbu. Mbaegbu is a development practitioner and a program officer for CLEEN Foundation. You are welcome, Mr. Vandross, to me on mic.
Thank you very much, Mr. Benson.
Let's go straight into the question. From the view of an expert like you, what are the possible implications of the recent declaration of state of emergency in Rivers State?
Now, Nigeria is a nation that has 36 federating units plus the FCT. And by design, each federating unit has the right to elect a leader, that will govern them for, a period of 4 years and an extension for extra 4 years. And so, as an elected leader, you're being governed by a constitution. Nigeria is being governed by constitution, and the constitution provides, the conditions for removing the sitting elected governor. I think section 305, has that provisions. So the political crisis in Rivers State, got so worse that the president woke up one morning or one evening and declared, the state of emergency, in Rivers State. But we in the development sectors frown at it, because what actually happened is not a state of emergency, but a martial law declared on Rivers State. What do I mean by martial law? The administration before that of Buhari administration, which is the good Lord Jonathan, had similar issues for declaration of state of emergency. But what we observed was that the president declared the state of emergency without suspending the governor, and the House of members. But that of the Rivers State, the president declared state of emergency, suspended the sitting governor and the other House of Reps member, of which constitutionally is supposed not to be so.
Okay. So
and that's why I said it was a martial law. And what is a martial law? A martial law simply means, removal of a civilian government and enthronement of a military administrator.
Okay,
suspending all democratic institutions in the state.
So from the perspective of development angle, or let me say practitioner now, that is the martial law, or from the political angle, where is martial law coming in? Martial authority by the president, where is it coming in from?
Yeah, the martial law.
Because from what I know, martial law should govern the military territory or terrain.
Yes,
not political terrain.
Yes, so the martial law is when you put in, because what happened was that he's put in a military officer, regardless of whether or not he's retired.
Yeah.
And the military authority was supposed to come and broker peace between the governor and the House of Representatives.
Okay.
But that wasn't the case. What we're seeing now is absolute, military rule in the state, where you remove the democratic institutions. You suspend, the governor. You suspend the House of Rep members. You suspend the commissioners of the state and enthrone military authorities in different local governments. In a democratic dispensation, that is not supposed to be so. And in a period when we are asking for the police, civil authority to take over the institution of state, you are introducing the military. Although we have military operations going on in virtually all states of the federation.
Okay.
And one of the challenges that we are having is the exit strategy. After this operation, are the military going back to their barracks, or are they remaining in the civilian space?
Exactly.
And that is the challenge that we are having today. And you are bringing in a military to be in charge of the entire state. So what do you think will happen in that state? The people will speak against it. There will be uprising.
Exactly.
And the peace that people expect
might be threatened.
might be threatened in the state. So that is the situation right now in Rivers State.
Okay, so why do you, from your own perspective, why do you think the president took that decision? Imposing a military administrator on a state that meant to be democratically controlled. Why do you think he took that decision?
Well, the political commentators or observers would say that it's for political reasons.
Okay.
Because, we have this issue of godfatherism and godson, crisis, and that was what fueled those crises in Rivers State. Where a former governor, that has been main minister of the FCT,
Yeah.
who should have actually focused on his job as a minister of FCT,
Okay.
but interfering in the state.
Okay.
On the ground that there was an agreement that he had with the current governor of the state, an agreement that the current governor refused to meet up with his own part of the bargain. So, and we all know how the vote was given to the current president how the current president won the election in Rivers State.
Yeah.
We all know that.
Yeah.
So definitely it is the 2007.
Okay.
What the 2007, everybody has interest in capturing Rivers State, and the president has tried, to the best of his ability to broker peace, trying, I don't know what was discussed in that, but I think what was discussed in favor of the people of Rivers State, just as what the governor said. The governor said that it is not what the president asked him to do doesn't suit the Rivers State people, So because of the failure or the inability of Governor Fubara to comply with what the president asked him to do,
Okay.
The president has to use, an alternative means, which is to actually bring in the military authority. And from what we are seeing right now, the military authority actually favor one path, because, the governor, and the House of Rep members have been suspended, but we keep seeing the current FCT minister visiting the state.
Exactly. So that's where I'm actually heading.
Doing his campaign.
That's what I'm heading. I wanted to know.
Recently, we saw a video of him, in UK,
with some of his team,
suspended
exactly.
House of Rep members.
Exactly.
So you can have a sense that
the president on the side of the minister of FCT,
so the president is supposed to be a father to both sides, and not to be biased.
Okay.
When you become a president, you become a parent of all, irrespective of
political affiliation or relationship.
But from what we are seeing so far, one side seems to be winning, and that side is the side of the FCT minister.
All right. Thank you for that. So, do you think that will affect the economic development of the state?
Of course, definitely, and I can tell you that pressure group, I imagine, speaking up against the injustice going on in the state, and we are still hearing issues of militancy, issuing threats, that if this and this are not in place, that they'll pose threats to the oil infrastructures in the state. So if that happens, you see that there will be chaos in the state. There will be pipeline vandalization.
Already, that's already happening.
Of course,
we have stories or reports of
course. So and the military might be pressured to fix a curfew in the state, which might hinder the movement of businesses, people, in the state. So transportation business will be affected, people will be restriction of movement, and the per capita income of people in the state will be reduced. Foreign investors will run away because of the crisis in the state. So the people of Rivers State will suffer because of this declaration of the president. So but for us in the civil society dimension, what we are saying is that this situation calls for dialogue.
Yeah.
For us, the governor, while maintaining peace, while respecting the declaration of the Supreme Court and also that of the president, there's also room for him to engage with people in the states, and civil society organization, also engage with international communities to talk about this injustice happening, and we see the possibility of the international community putting pressure on the president of the states to do what is right.
All right, so I know CLEEN Foundation has been around for a while. They are one of the foremost civil society organizations in the country. So, and I also know that one of the core thematics of CLEEN Foundation is civil-military relations.
Yeah.
So, generally, how would you describe the civil-military relation in the country right now?
So,
vis-a-vis what we are talking about in Rivers State.
Okay.
Because, we have had repressive years of military rule. Now we're having a single state out of 36 or 37, right, plus FCT, being subjected to military rule without their consent, against their will. So now let's now look at the overall holistically, the overall situation as a country. Now, can we say we have good civil-military relations in Nigeria right now, before Rivers State?
Okay. Before we became a democratic nation, we were being governed by the military, and the military, rule had its own challenges, and we had civil society organizations who speak against it, and eventually became a democratic nation in 1999.
Yeah.
And when we became a democratic nation, the arrangement was that the military would go back to the barracks,
Yeah.
and be called upon by the civilian government, when the need arises. So, and following the emergency security threats and the consequential, incapacity of the institution responsible for internal security management to handle those challenges, which is the Nigerian Police Force.
Yeah.
Obviously, the Nigerian Police Force is overwhelmed by the emerging security threats in the nation, and Boko Haram issues in the northeast, the banditry issues in the northwest, the secession movement in the southeast, and the militancy, the south-south, the cultism, and all that in the southwest. So all these issues, the police are not prepared for handling this issue. And areas where you give them the opportunity to handle, and you see a lot of casualties even within the police. So it now, there's now need for the government to call upon the military to intervene. And currently we have the military operations in virtually all states of the federations.
You mean as a foundation now? As a CLEEN Foundation, as...
No, as a nation.
Okay, as a nation. Okay.
We have several military operations across, focus on tackling this security crisis in the state. So, and where we have military operations, of course, there will be element of human rights violations.
Exactly.
Because the military, as an institution, is being trained to fight the enemy forces. They're being trained to protect the external territorial bodies of the nations. So, and by training, they're meant to shoot, kill, and destroy. So that interaction between the security agencies and the police and citizens are meant for the police, and the police have been doing well on it. So you can see with all these arrangements, all the places where we have military operations, there is human rights violations, there is abuse of power, and there is abuse of rights abuses, and so on and so forth. So institutions like organizations like CLEEN Foundation came up and said, okay, in as much as we have this, the military intervention is necessary, how can we ensure that while they are carrying out these activities, there will be reduction of human rights violation, and that's where the component of civil military came into being. Civil military relations ideally is rested on a tripod: the military as an institution, the civilian, and also the institution of state responsible for appropriating funds for the military. And that three elements of civil military are meant to interact with each other for effective civil military relations. So, but in some places it is working, but in some places it is not working. And why is it that it is not working? Because we have, at the military hierarchy, the training and the training efforts of the Nigerian government, we see it manifesting effectively at the strategic level. But at the operational level, that's where we have those violations going on. And these are the people that are interacting with the citizens. And also, on the other hand, the institution responsible for appropriation formulating policies and appropriation, which is the ministries and the National Assembly. Most times they are ineffective in handling those things, because ideally, when people complain, when citizens complain of human rights violations, the institutions are meant to hold the military accountable for those violations. But most times we don't see. So when people complain, make complaints, when Amnesty International released their findings on human rights abuses, those people, humans within the institutions, that should have actually deal with those complaints and not deal with it. And what does that mean? It actually gives those ranks, the military officers at the ranks, to continue with what they are doing. So now for us in CLEEN Foundation, we came up with a strategy of saying, okay, how can we came up with a dialogue, of civil military relations, where we came up with the challenges and we provide solutions, for effective civil military relations across the federation. And to a large extent, that intervention came in more produced what we know today as the Human Rights Desk Office of the Nigerian Police Force, and also the creation of the Civil Military Relations Department, and that receives cases of rights violations and punish officers that are found wanting for those human rights violations. So vis-a-vis, what is going on in Rivers State, I tell you that civil military relations may not function effectively in Rivers State, because what we have, like I said earlier, is a martial law. Civil military relations can only exist in a democratic dispensation and not in a military setting. And I agree with some people who say that in Nigeria we have 35 states, 35 democratic states, and one state being governed or being ruled by a military head of state, which is the Rivers State. So in a state that is being ruled by the military, do we have civil military relations? Of course, the civil military may be that of oppression and not that of engagement. Because like I said before, wake up one morning, you hear that the sole administrator have removed the democratic institution. The commissioners have been suspended. In a democratic dispensation, there are procedures for the removal of democratic institutions or persons manning democratic institutions. Unlike the military, where the sole administrator can wake up one morning and said, "You are hereby dissolved." So that is the issue we have in Rivers State today. The engagement, civil military relations will not be effective because of the nature of the government in the state.
All right. So I still want to ask this question again. Do you think this state of emergency approach from the president, from Mr. President, is wrong, is the wrong alternative or the right one? And if it's wrong, what should have been the best approach in addressing what was happening in Rivers State before the state of emergency was pronounced, declared in the state?
State of emergency pronunciation in Rivers State was political and it wasn't targeted at addressing any problem.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Because if it was targeted at addressing a problem, what the sole administration was expected to do is was to bring the conflicting parties together and understand the situation, and find a way, to broker peace. Because the president, I listened to the president's declaration. He said for a period of 6 months.
Okay.
So now I throw the question back to you. Do you think that a democratic elected governor will be restored back within 6 months? Going by what is playing out. For me, I doubt.
I doubt it too as well. Everybody doubts it, honestly, and there have been international communities trying to intervene, because we have been seeing it in the reports in the news that they were trying to plead with Mr. President to recall or reinstate the current incumbent governor, Fubara. Yeah.
Because I have not seen a video of the sole administrator engaging with the governor.
Exactly.
I still call him the governor. Will not call him the former governor.
Exactly. That's what I'm trying to avoid too.
Yes, he's still the governor of the state. And the suspended lawmakers are still the lawmakers of the state, followed by the Supreme Court's judgment. Okay? So, the issue was that after the Supreme Court judgment, the state governor submitted the budget. That is House of Representatives were demanding for, and there was nobody to receive the governor. And after some time, we started hearing stories of pipeline vandalization and everything. So, what this organization was supposed to do was to engage and know why this and that. Because there should be an exit strategy. There is no exit strategy of the solar panel. Does it mean that Rivers State will be governed by solar till 2027? So that is the problem. That is what people are asking. That is what people are asking. So we demand clarity by the person who made that declaration.
Unfortunately, the president has not been able to make any declaration, regarding that.
Yeah.
He has not really been proactive, and he doesn't seem to be interested in whatever happening. So I think the reason why we should keep this conversation going is because of his indifference to what is happening to the people of Rivers State, and whatever is happening there. He has made the declaration, so whatever happens. And in the report, there have been people of River complaining about the aggressiveness of the military engagement in the state. They said they no longer move around the way they used to. There was this particular video where a popular actress was actually crying. She was crying. No, this state used to be peaceful. Dokubo, and even this popular actress, she's Vandross Ebere Mbaegbu, she was crying. Women actually came out. River State women came out to protest.
Yeah.
So those are the issues that the state is facing right now, because they feel their state has been hijacked by the military stuff. So now let me say, do you see this political instability in the River State being resolved by this alternative? Do you think it will work eventually? Because you just said that you are looking at the long term, like it's going to continue till 2027 election to takes place, which may not be possible. Right? So do you think this alternative will resolve this issue in the state? This state of emergency and military administration will resolve it? Do you see it as being the way out of what is happening?
Military deployment, has never been a solution to a problem in Nigeria. As we speak,
really, despite the fact that we have
military deployment
in
Borno State State
Okay.
has not stopped
I love that.
Boko Haram. Has it? Has not stopped Boko Haram. What we are hearing is that it has reduced it to a bare minimum. But if you take away the military now out of Borno, don't you think that the Boko Haram will strike harder? It will strike harder. Okay, Boko Haram will strike harder. So, as the military deployment ensure peace and stability in Borno State, when we talk about, sustainable solution, we are talking about, ensure that the dividend of democracy is being given to the people of that state, so that it will reduce the incentive of people wanting to join, ensure that there is stability, economic stability, social stability, fiscal stability. When education is being properly funded in the states affected by violence, people will become enlightened enough to know that, supporting these enemy forces will hinder our growth and development, and they will help the government to even fight against it. But what we are seeing today is people, voluntarily being part of this, but people even revealing the secrets of the Nigerian states to the enemy forces, hereby promoting this violence. If you go to ITP Council, we have sons and daughters of the Boko Haram fighters. And that what they only know is kill, maim, and destroy, because that is how they have grown up. That's what they've grown up to see. So when you have this problem, you see how they are creating more problem, and that's why we in the society we strongly condemn this martial law or this state of emergency thing in Rivers State.
Right.
We strongly condemn it, and we say that it will only worsen the political situation. And why do we think so? We think so because of what is actually going on. I know how many family members that are depending on me for support since the declaration of that state of emergency. I know how many family members. So, and that is how it is. People are suffering. People are looking at relocating. There will be displacement of people because of the fear of the military in their state. And we call on the people of Rivers State to rise up to the occasion. This is not normal. This is not normal. Democracy is power of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people of Rivers State are the government.
I know. So when you say they should rise up, what are you suggesting? What do you recommend? Because we are wrapping up now. What do you recommend?
What I mean is that they should organize themselves.
Okay.
Civil organization.
Okay.
Engage.
Okay.
With the government. They should come. Of course, they have the right to protest. They have the right to protest. They should come to Abuja and do what I don't want to mention name, but they should come and protest in Abuja.
And you think that will change anything?
No,
they've been protesting in their state.
Protesting in their state is not enough.
Okay.
Protesting in their state is not enough. They should demand for their governor to be restored.
Alright.
Because I wouldn't say, because I'm wondering how can one engage with a sole administrator that is not their elected representative. So that may be difficult. But if they rise up, come to Abuja and start demanding for questions, demanding why and when will the sole administrator be removed for the elected governors to come in place, so I think that will go a long way. But what I recommend that they should remain calm, just as the state governor asked them to do. They should remain calm and engage strategically. They should have representative that goes to the UN to speak about this, because now it will be resolved.
All right, thank you, Mr. Vandross, for your time on Up Mic today, and we really appreciate your coming. All right, and we look forward to seeing you in one of our episodes. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, this is where we wrap it up on Hot Mic this episode. Till I come your way again, I remain your host, Dr. Roy. And thank you for staying with us.